Hello everyone, thanks for watching. This is an old pallet, and this is an old patio table stand left over from a previous homeowner. We're going to combine those two items to make this, a pallet patio table. Now, I took this pallet from a local store, and I had to make sure I asked permission from the manager before taking this. So if you want to do a project that's kind of like this or very similar, make sure you ask permission too. Alright, so I had to take all the planks from the pallet, and in doing so, I used a crowbar and a sledgehammer. Now, the only pieces of wood I didn't use were those 3 support beams, and those were for the burn pile because you really couldn't do much with those. Afterwards, I started taking all the old nails out, and a lot of these nails were twisted or very rusty. So make sure that if you're doing this, wear gloves, some form of protective eyewear. I normally wear glasses, so that's what I was using. And just an old jar to catch all the nails. And that's what we're left with. All those old rusty nails, probably about 45, 50 nails. Alright, and that's what the wood looks like. Now, I kind of set up the table prior to sanding to make sure that this is what I was wanting to do with these. So making sure there was some space in between the planks. I used a detail sander and just sanded by hand, mainly just to start on the edges and get all the old burrs off and make sure there was no splinters. Right here I'm using garden gloves. You can use work gloves, whatever works for you. Again, this is just getting all the burrs off the sides so that once we start actually sanding the top and bottom of the plank, it'll be okay. I'm also using a file. That's what that skinny little tool is on the side. And the sandpaper grit I was using to start was 40 grit. Went up to 60, 80, 120, I believe 140, 180, and then 220 to finish. And I'm sorry about this shot right here, it's a little blurry, but this is near the finishing sanding process. And I'm going over one more time with 220 grit. You can tell it's not quite too warm outside. Wearing earmuffs. And just finishing all the sanding process. Making sure there's no burrs or anything like that once we start staining the wood. And that's what we're left with. So we have unfinished wood. Kind of cool grain. That one dark plank in the middle wasn't sanded, just to give you a contrast. Quite a difference for sure. Now you'll notice that some pieces of wood were a little broken or chipped, so I actually used some Gorilla Glue. Right here there's a pretty big chip in this one. This was going to be the centerpiece, and you could use any brand, but this is what worked for me. After I made sure that all the wood was glued, wipe it up with a paper towel and clamp it with a C-clamp. Afterwards I started applying conditioner. Now you can use whatever conditioner you have. I had some left over from a flooring project that we were using. Mineral spirits to clean up. And I'm also using gloves too, because it can kind of get sticky. This is I think dark walnut from Miniwax. Again, you can use any stain brand you so choose. Just make sure it's rated for outdoor, and I believe this was for indoor or outdoor use. And that's staining right before polyurethane. Looks really, really nice. It's not perfect just yet. So this is the first coat of poly. You can really see the grain of the wood start to pop. Pretty cool. Make sure that if you're using this video as maybe like a project inspiration, that you spread some newspaper, because At first, when I started filming, I did not do that, so make sure that you use some newspaper or something to lay down as a drop cloth to catch any drops of polyurethane. It's very hard to clean up. And after the first coat, make sure you sand with 220 grit sandpaper. And for this project, I coated 3 times, so gave the wood a very nice shiny look. And that's what we're left with. Very cool result. Again, this is pallet wood. It's not perfect. You see those nail holes from the pallet itself. Right here I had to drill some holes for the supporting planks for the table, just with a regular drill. And there you go. Those are just the 2 support planks for the table. I used 1-inch drywall screws for the tabletop into the supporting planks, and there you go. That's what we're left with. I apologize, I didn't go into too much detail near the end, but I was scrapped for time. We had company coming over and I needed to get this project done. Not a whole lot of measurement here. Didn't really go too crazy with it. Again, this is just recycled material, but I hope this inspired you to try something like this. To take an old pallet and maybe something else and make it into something cool that you can use every day. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, consider subscribing to my channel or just liking this video and commenting below on what else you'd like to see. Now remember, my channel is more musically oriented, so you may not see much of these projects, but you never know. We'll see.